Hi ladies, Dionysia here, coming to you today to say Happy Galentine's Day. And I say that with so much love and beauty from my heart to yours as an appreciation for all of the women who are in my life, and what a wonderful thing it is to feel so connected. And for those of us who are single going into Valentine's Day, I think sometimes our Galentines are our next best thing, or even, dating ourselves. So I have been single for 4.5 years right now, for the first time in my life ever. And I have in that time taken myself on amazing Valentine's dates. I have cultivated some practices that I think are really wonderful around this time of year, and I'll share those with you as I go along. But also, in that single time, I've had some really amazing experiences with just hanging with my besties. I'll include a picture below of one of my favorite times that we've done that. This just amazing Galentine's Day party we had with some women in my circle a few years ago. Some super powerhouse women. Many of the women in that picture are some of my dearest and closest friends, and others of them I knew from around in our community. And it was super fun to get together, and the candles lit and the fire going, and lots of yummy treats that we had all brought to share with each other. I think there was some wine for sure. But it was just a super fun way to celebrate. I was thinking about that a lot today as I was thinking about sharing some time with you. So yeah, anyways, that picture is in the email below. And if you have known me for a while or have been with me for a while, then you know that I am actually a lover of all things Valentine's. And I know that's not always the coolest thing to say, but it is true about me. And the reason that that's true for me, well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one, if you know anything about the Enneagram, I am a 4 on the Enneagram. So I am a true romantic through and through. And I have had a full exploration of all of the light side of that and all of the shadow side of that as well in my life. But also I am a true Venusian through and through. So Venus is my ruling planet as a Taurus, and I just love and adore everything that is about love and beauty and romance. So Valentine's Day for me is like amazing, the best thing ever, a day that we're all focused on celebrating all of that if we're in tune with it, or maybe hating it if we're not so in tune with it. And I have had that era of my life as well. It was kind of torturous and tormenting for me as a teen and a young woman to not have anybody to share all of those things with. But then I did go on in my life in several relationships with men who really just loved me up over Valentine's Day. Beautiful date nights and gorgeous flowers and beautiful lovemaking experiences, such that I feel really blessed about that. And again, as a single woman, I've taken myself on amazing dates. I've done these Galentine's things, and I've also shared always really sweet, lovey things with my daughter. So I was just wanting to share all of that with you in celebration of all of that, and to pick up a thread of that around beauty, which is my class coming up next week in this February, Romance of an Affair to Remember. I really hope that you're having some version of beautiful romantic affair with yourself this time of year, and specifically because we're in a very special moment at this February moment with Venus. So Venus is just about to move into Aries. And I'm a woman who, in my natal chart, Venus is in Aries. So I'm very, very familiar with what that energy is. And Venus in Aries is an energy that says, let's go, let's do it, let's get wild, let's jump in, let's get juicy, come on, let's go. And I have definitely experienced the amazing, wonderful outcome of that placement in my chart. And I have also experienced the shadow side of how that can run in my chart, and find myself in situations that turned out to really not be so great for me. But as a collective, when we have Venus in Aries, that's the energy that she's bringing. It's very vivacious Venusian. And pretty shortly after she moves into Aries, she's going to go retrograde. And what that means when any planet goes into retrograde is it's a time to reflect and reevaluate. Venus rules, like I said, love and beauty, just like the goddess Venus or goddess Aphrodite. And she also rules what we value. And she also rules money. That's tied in there too, but that's another conversation for another time. But I wanted to speak today about beauty and what we value and a reevaluation of that for ourselves, especially related to this class on beauty that I have coming up next week in my February series. So I think there's a huge call for us as women to evaluate our own sense of beauty versus beauty standards. So beauty standards are a sort of agreed upon collective idea that's created in the external world. But beauty is derived from our internal world. And from that internal place, we can then adorn ourselves and offer our beauty in whatever way feels good for us. And there are as many different ways to do that as there are many different kinds of women. So from my perspective, beauty and how we set value on it should be something that we decide inside of ourselves. And I think that often that's not how it happens because we are, socialized with external standards of beauty. And standards of beauty have changed dramatically over eons of time, right? Like, think about Cleopatra's version of beauty and what the standard of beauty would have been in her day and age, and compare that to Renaissance paintings and the standard of beauty in that day and age. Fast forward into Marilyn Monroe or Twiggy, what those different women and those different stages and standards of beauty to standards of beauty today. And how that has changed and ebbed and flowed and been different things throughout time. Interestingly enough, I think we need to see that all of those things, maybe with the exception of Cleopatra, those standards were set by men. So Renaissance painters were mostly men. Marilyn was of Hollywood. That was the world of men. It still is a lot today, but especially during her era. And beauty standards today are still set by men running corporations, running magazines, running industries. So, and this is not about bashing or hating on men. I love men, come on. But it is about recognizing that there are really great, yummy men to love, and there are some really nasty men that are not so lovable. And we don't want to take our standards from those guys. And furthermore, even the great guys, we want to set the standard for them, not take the standard from them. And the way that we set that standard is from an internal source. It's from an internal sense of our own beauty. And I think that oftentimes for us as women, our sense of our beauty is linked to our sense of self-worth and self-value. And especially when we derive our sense of our beauty from comparison to beauty standards. So if I'm looking at myself and am I beautiful enough to meet that standard that's being set by that external source, then and my self-worth and sense of value is linked to that, then I'm going to be in a lot of pain. Because if I don't match up to that standard and that standard and that standard, then my self-worth and my sense of my value is going to go down and down and down, right? And I think that actually happens a lot for women at midlife, because at midlife, the midlife woman over, the past however many decades of time in society, she's been invisible. And that's especially true in Hollywood. Now, where we are at this moment in time right now, that's changing, right? There are a lot of women in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond who are just out there going for it and being visible and being loud and being bright. And I say, yes, please, and more of that. And, this is my version of being on that train here, speaking to all of you and in all the ways that I put myself out in the world. But I And that's because I think that we have a type of beauty that is so very different than our maiden selves. And again, if you've been with me for a while, then you've heard me talking about that for quite some time now. But my point here is that we still, at any age of womanhood, get to, if we choose to, turn to our internal world to determine what beauty is, to evaluate our own value and our own beauty, and then how we're going to present that. So I have a story that I want to share with you. A couple of days ago, I was scrolling through Instagram, as one does, and I saw a video of a guy talking about tarot reading, and he was showing his tarot reading on the screen. And I really liked what he was doing. He said, you know, I want to offer you a different option as a 3-card draw than past, present, future. And I was like, cool, because I've been doing past, present, future forever. Sure, I'd love to see something different. And he gave this 3-card spread, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. So the first card in the spread is the focal point. So it's what the focus is right now for you. And that's the number 1 card that you draw. The second card, it goes to the left of that, and that is the gift of the focal point. So if you focus on that, this is the gift you get out of it. And the third card that goes to the right of the focal point is the gift you give. So when you focus on that focal point, this is the gift that you have to give. And I thought, brilliant. Yeah, I want to do that. So I actually went over in the moment and got my most recent purchase of a tarot deck. These 2 women I have been seeing at Goddess Conference in Glastonbury for ages, ever since I've been going there. Flavia, Kate Peters, and Barbara Michael John Free. And one of the things that those women, among the many things they're brilliant at, is creating decks. And so this is the most recent one that I picked up. I love this deck. I've been having a really good time with it. And so I went and I made my 3-card spread like he suggested. And this was my card that I drew as the focal point. And I thought I would share it with you today. So that's the beauty card. I didn't even know that there was a beauty card in that deck. It's the first time I've drawn it. I've been using that deck for about, 7 months now. It's the first time I've seen this card. And I wanted to share that with you because this is a focal point for me right now. And I wanted to share a little bit, just a little snippet with you of what the book says about beauty. If only you would open your eyes and marvel at the beauty that surrounds you. In fact, when was the last time you gazed at your reflection and told yourself how beautiful you are? Sometimes you feel attractive, yet at other times you feel cursed by the weight of ugly thoughts that you torture yourself with and sometimes direct towards others too. It is now time to lighten up and smell the roses. Now, after over 2 decades of working with women, I can tell you that I know that many, if not most of us, know what that means when we say those ugly thoughts that we torment ourselves with. And I want to encourage you to lighten up and smell some roses and look at your beauty and see you reflected back to you as a beauty and a marvel of this creation, of this world. So those are the kinds of things that we're going to be talking about in this upcoming class on Beauty on Tuesday. We're going to talk about beauty versus beauty standards. We're going to talk about unlinking our sense of self-worth and value from any external beauty standard and really embracing our own beauty from our own decisions about what beauty is. We're going to be talking about those ugly thoughts that torment us, where they come from, what to do about them. And we're going to be discussing some ways to really enhance your own sense of beauty so that when you do see yourself reflected in the mirror, you love what you see. You love that expression of you. You get to decide what it's going to be. And you know, the art of adornment can be simple. It doesn't have to be, going and buying a new wardrobe, although it can be that. So we're going to be talking about the art of adornment, what that actually is and how to embrace it, how to bring more of that into your own self-expression, and how do we value those things? What, what value do we place on beauty? Beauty, our own beauty and our expression of that, but also beauty in our environment and beauty in our world. So if any of that resonates for you, I'd love to be with you on Tuesday. It's another class in the February series that's priced very affordably. If you go in there and you look at it and you go, oh man, I wish I had done Passion and Desire too, go ahead and purchase the whole thing and you'll get the replays of those classes sent to you. Beauty will also be recorded and sent out as a replay if you can't make the call time live. And it's very simple. It's, you know, you're not going to be on video. You're not going to be asked to talk about anything. You can chat in the chat if you want to, but you can show up in your lingerie if you feel like it, because nobody's going to see you. You're not going to be on video. Or you can throw on your sweats and just roll out of bed to it if that's what's true for you. So my point is that all of that, it's set up to be just really simple for you and really easy, but it'll still be, you know, me offering you really great content and encouraging you to really, you know, counter all of those ugly thoughts you torment yourself with and embrace your beauty and enhance it and express it. So that's what we're going to be doing on Tuesday. We are going to be talking about beauty in my upcoming sexuality and intimacy immersion as well. That begins in March. That's a deeper immersion. You are going to be on video if you're in that class and attending, because you're going to have an opportunity to talk with me and the other women in the class. And beauty is going to be a thread that we pull through there as well, because we're going to have Venus retrograde all throughout that time. And it's a really, really good time for us to be talking about these things. Why? To what end? To feel better, to feel more fulfilled, to be more satisfied, to feel like we've got this life and it's juicy and we get to be vivacious with it and we get to have a wild, beautiful love expression of ourselves and with another if we choose to share it with somebody else. So for the purpose of being more fully here, more fully embodied, more in it, more taking hold of this life and living it. So again, I would love to be with you there if you decide to join in those things. And I wish you some version of a beautiful celebration of romantic love in these next couple of days. Why these next couple of days? Because when a group of people focuses on something all together at one time, it creates what's called a morphic field. In the realm of quantum physics, morphic fields are a really cool thing to explore. And right now, this is a time when a whole lot of people all over the world are focusing on romantic love, which means it creates a morphic field. And morphic fields are things we can tap into just by focusing on them. That means that we can fill ourselves up with romance and love and joy and beauty and expressions of beauty just by focusing on it, because so many other people are focused on it all at the same time. And that could be a solo date for you. That could be a sexy time with your vibrator for you. That could be a beautiful date with your beloved for you. That could be getting together with your gal pals and having a little Galentines celebration. That could be just stopping and pausing for a moment and really looking at something beautiful and drinking it in. Whatever that is for you, that's my wish for you over this Valentine's Day. And I would love to see you in class for beauty on Tuesday. As always, if you would take a moment right now and go click that subscribe button, you'll be the first to get these videos, and also you'll help me continue to bring you free content like this, and you'll help other women. So every time you click the subscribe button, that bumps me up in the algorithm with YouTube, and it spreads the word for other women to get in touch with. So women who might not be in touch with this information yet, you can quickly and easily make that happen just by clicking that subscribe button. And until we meet again, I wish you so much beauty over these next couple of days and beyond them, and would love to be with you on Tuesday if you choose to be there. And I send such big love from my heart to yours. Blessed be, beloveds.